This is Mike Riley from your Edmonton Eskimos, and you're listening to Inside Sports with Reid Wilkins on 630 CHED.
Thanks a lot, Mike. It's 7:33. Thanks so much for tuning in. Been a fun show so far, and the fun will not stop. We have Jason Doucette in studio. Jason, it's great to finally meet you in person after some emails and phone calls over the last few weeks. You are the president and founder. And this is going to be great because I know virtually nothing about the sport you're going to tell me about tonight. So this is going to be informative. You're the president and founder of the North Central Alberta Fly Fishing League.
That's right.
Welcome. I almost don't know where to begin, so I'll start with this. How in the heck does a fly fishing league operate? Like, do you have standings? Do you fish against other anglers? How does this work?
Oh, yes. So throughout the summer, spring, summer, fall, we hold league events out at one of the local lakes, and we have anywhere from 10 to 16 people come out, and we teach them about competitive fly fishing tactics, and we compete against each other. And yes, at the end of the season, we collect the points, and there's a leaderboard going right into October, and we present the trophies and the medals at the end of the year.
Okay, so how do you, is it just weight of fish caught, like number of fish caught? How do you actually track who's doing well?
All right, so it's all catch and release. So we catch a fish, we let them go. It's all about conservation and teaching people about conservation and these fly fishing tactics. But you get 100 points per fish plus 20 points per centimeter.
Oh, so it's length.
Yes.
Okay.
So each fish is worth something, but the longer your fish, the more points you get. And then that's tracked throughout a session, which is a 3-hour session, and you do 2 of those a day.
Oh, wow, okay. All right, well, that's a good explanation, so that makes it pretty clear then how the points are awarded. So you founded a league. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a lot of work. I mean, I've known guys who have run junior B and midget hockey leagues. It wasn't always easy. How did you get into this sport? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who fish, and they're doing it for fun the odd weekend, and they would never do it competitively. Maybe they wouldn't be good enough. How did you develop this passion to actually, enter and organize a fly fishing league?
Well, first of all, it all starts with fishing. So I come from an outdoors background, right from 3 years old, fishing, hunting, all of that. Then you fast forward to 2007. I'd been fly fishing probably since about grade 7.
Wow, okay.
In 2007, this crazy group of people came to Grand Prairie, Alberta, and it was the Canadian National Fly Fishing Championships. And I said, you know what? It's that close. I'm going to go. And I had a great time, and I was doing really well. Ended up with a top 10 standing. And then I was hooked. And then the next year, one of the major teams that was doing it, they called me up in the middle of the night, and they're like, "Oh, we're going in 2008 in Mont Tremblant. Why don't you come join us?" And right from then and there, I had this team, and it was great.
All right, so there are people listening now who are probably saying, okay, this is great. He's good at fly fishing. He hangs out with other people that are good at fly. But how is this a sport? How can this possibly be competitive? I mean, and I know you faced this before because we talked about it briefly. That will not take this seriously. What's your response when you get that reaction?
Well, when you see that every country that I know of in the world has, well, I shouldn't say every country, but there are at least 45 countries that field a team at the World Fly Fishing Championships. They're all part of a larger group known as FIPS-MOOSH. They have this Bible of fly fishing and competitive rules, and there are countries, nuts enough, like Canada, to spend, I believe their membership fee is about $15,000 a year. They pay into this, and you now are allowed to send a team to the World Championships or to the Commonwealth Championships. So Canada's been involved in this probably since about 2000, and for the first time ever in 2016, we hosted a Commonwealth event, and Canada won the gold medal.
Wow.
Both on the team.
That's incredible.
Both on the team side, and they won gold, silver on the individual sides. So this is a yearly event now.
Jason Doucette joining us from the North Central Alberta Fly Fishing League. Okay, well, that's the scope of the sport is incredible. I had no idea. You were just at Nationals on the weekend.
Correct.
Or, pardon me, last week?
I spent the last 2 weeks in Manitoba.
Okay.
So we started off with a warm-up event known as the Bug Chucker Cup. It's been going on for 5 years.
That's a great name, by the way.
Oh, it is. It's incredible. So it's they invite everybody. It's kind of laid back. Basically, there's no stipulations. Just go out and fly fish and catch fish. I was lucky enough, I was pairing up with another guy, Josh Jelena, for the last 4 years, and we've won it twice. And Josh, unfortunately, couldn't go this year, so I took a guy on from Calgary, Mike Briggs, and we ended up winning that together.
Okay.
And then that was sort of our lead into the Nationals. And, yeah, we spent the last week and a half practicing for Nationals.
Okay, so sorry, let me are there some events where you have a partner and some where you're solo?
It's always... Well, when you get one of these events, you're ranked individually, but you also put together a team. So we have, for the Bug Chucker Cup, you have a team of 2. But for any Phipps Moosh, as I said, the style of event, you have a team of 5.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
My team consisted of 3 guys from Alberta, 2 guys locally, and then 1 guy from Calgary, and then another guy from Ontario who I fished with back in 2008.
But as an individual, you got 4th at Nationals.
That's right.
Okay, so I got to ask. So, I mean, you've talked about the scope of it, how it's very organized. So can the good guys, like, win money doing this? Like, significant money where you're like, you go home to your family, like, hey, I got... Maybe you don't want to tell me that, but I got $10,000 this weekend because I won, or what's going on?
So it's leading in that direction. So if you go into Europe now, France, Great Britain, Czechoslovakia, and now in the States, there's been multiple attempts to set up a professional league. Okay, and there is money being handed out. So their prizes are around £2,000 if you go to a Sierra Pairs event in Great Britain. They were offering $5,000 American prizes at different events in the States. So there is money to be made. Competitive fishing, like just backing off from the fly fishing right now, we've got walleye events in Alberta, the Western Walleye Trail, the Southern Alberta Walleye Trail. Their prizes could be anywhere from $10,000 for a weekend event up to $50,000 to $100,000.
That's for the winner, not the purse.
That's not the purse. That's
the
just
winner.
The winner. Yeah. And then if you want to take it a step up, you've got the Bass BASS group down in the States, and the Bassmasters Classic is $1 million prize for the top angler. It's nuts. And that was actually one of my dreams, and maybe the next step for me is I'm actually looking to get involved with one of those type of tournaments. Like I've done some of the walleye scene, I've done some of these money tournaments. Just unfortunately, the fly fishing is the passion right now, and that's what's taking up all the time. But money-wise, fly fishing's a little less, but there is money to be made in professional.
But if you're good, fishing, you can augment your
absolutely.
Your income for sure.
And you know what? A lot of people will tell you, it's all about luck. But you know what? It's the same guys on the leaderboard, event in and event out. It's all about attention to detail. Like some of these guys are so meticulous. They're checking the sharpness of their hook after 3 or 4 casts every time. Like I got this guy on my team, Soren. He's originally from Romania, and he's just crazy meticulous on everything that he does, and he's taught me to be that way. Like this guy was winning everything. He won the silver medal at the Commonwealths in 2016. Like I said, a Canadian citizen now.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You get together with all of these guys, and you're learning all this crazy stuff. And you're learning to be the attention to detail, and you're getting better. Like guys, you're watching them progressively getting better and winning. It's cool.
Okay, so you sort of answered part of my next question, but that was my next question. How do you become? What makes a good angler when it comes to? I mean, you and I were talking about golf during the commercial.
Correct.
And if you watched one round of golf, it might be hard to identify. But if you watch the full season, you'd be like, well, Dustin Johnson hits it pretty far, or Rory Mac. You'd start to see what separates guys. So what does separate guys in these elite fly fishing events?
Okay, knowing what fish do. where they're at. Location.
Okay, so do you pick your spot when you go out in the lake?
Absolutely. So you're looking at intel. So from your practice sessions, where were the fish? What depth were they at? What habitat were they in? You're looking at bathymetric maps, like depth charts, and you're trying to contemplate. Biggest thing for me, wind direction. You want to be on that leeward side of the lake where the waves are crashing up on shore. It doesn't matter if you're walleye fishing, pike fishing, or trout fishing, what we're doing. You want to be in those zones where the fish are. And fish are constantly moving. And if you're not in the zones, your catch rate goes down. So
okay, but isn't everybody want to be in the same spots? I mean, certainly the top guys know.
Yeah, top guys know, but everyone has their own theory of where the fish are going to be. And sometimes it's hit and miss.
So is it ever we were talking about the Eskimos pushing and shoving today. Do our guys like, no, I was here first?
Well, I'll tell you something. It all depends on the boat partner you get, and sometimes some rivalries build up, and some people get a little bit of a bad name for being a boat hog, because you're actually two competitors get in the same boat.
Oh, so you're not in the boat with one of those 4 teammates that you have?
No, you go. You
get assigned.
You get assigned a guy from another team. And I'll tell you something, it can be detrimental or glorious depending on who you get. Because if you get a bad boat partner, you're hooped. You're absolutely...
So who decides the spot then?
So at the beginning of the comp, you've got 60 guys, and you draw them into 5 groups.
Okay.
So 60 divided by 5, you get 12 guys in a group. And those 12 guys will fish against each other at each of the venues. And then they will get a spot. It's kind of like golf. So if you get first place, you get 1 point. You get second place, you get 2. So when you go throughout these competitions, you usually have 5 venues. Yeah. You want to come in first every time, so that at the end of the whole event, you've got 5 placing points.
Lower score wins.
Lowest score wins. If it comes down to a tie, now the fish points come into play.
Okay, so you and I are in a boat. And what if I say, all right, Jason, we're going to the west side of the lake. And you're like, that this guy does not know where the fish are going. I think we should be in the middle. How does that get resolved?
Well, if you don't choke the guy out, doesn't get like that. It doesn't get like that. But what happens is there's two ways you can go about it. The rules state that at the beginning of the session you flip a coin, and the boat partner who wins the coin toss will get his choice of whether he wants to control the boat at the start of the session or for the last 90 minutes.
See. So it's like you want the ball in the first or second half.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
But there's another way to do it. The two partners can confer and work together throughout the whole thing as a team. Because most guys think about it this way. When you get into a boat with somebody, you want to be 1 and 2. You want to win that session. You want to come in first and second, the two of you. That's the mentality you have to go in when you fish with a guy in a boat.
Even though he's not your teammate, you still got to think we're kind of in this together.
It's a little different when you fish a river, because then you're flipping the coin and deciding which section of the river you get first, because they give you 100 meters of river with a partner from another team.
Okay. And then, is it always in a river, or is it sometimes in a lake?
Most competitions will be split up, three venues in a river, 2 in a lake, or 4 in 1. It varies depending on what's available. Manitoba was 5 lakes for 5 sessions, because there's no trout, grayling, whitefish. That's what we usually fish for. There's nothing like that in any flowing water in Manitoba. It's just spectacular trout fishing in the lakes they've got there.
Rob texting in, he says, I tried fly fishing, all I caught were mosquitoes. You ever have one of those days?
They do happen, especially on a day like today. Like the temperature goes 30, and the trout dive to 30 feet, and they become so lethargic.
Oh.
And if you do catch one anyway, you probably end up killing it, because they just can't handle. Warm water means low oxygen, so they struggle. So we don't even bother fishing. So in terms of conservation, we don't even look at fishing at that during warm water. So
Jason Doucette in studio from the North Central Alberta Fly Fishing League. He founded the league a few years ago. We're going to spend a few more minutes with him on Inside Sports on 630 CHED. My name is Reid Wilkins. Jason Doucette is in studio from the North Central Alberta Fly Fishing League. You're the president and founder. By the way, Jason, thanks for using Inside Sports at 630ched.com to get in touch with me and let me know about your league.
I appreciate that. I got to let you know that this all came about from a show you did probably about 4 months ago. I was just blown away. It was an award-winning show, and I thought you would be the guy to help us out. So the show that that caught my attention was you did a segment with a Wimbledon grass tech. And just the questions you asked, it was so well scripted, and it was just so outside of the box that blew my mind. And I got to let you know that I've been a big fan of the show for a long time. But when you did that segment, I was blown away. Like I said, award-winning. And again, I just reached out because I knew you might be the guy to help us out to sort of grow our consumer base here with people taking part in our events.
Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, he's the head groundskeeper at Wimbledon, and he's from Alberta, so it's like an incredible story.
Over the top for me.
All right, so Jason, you were just at Nationals. You got something else coming up this weekend? What's going on?
So yeah, we're doing our local event, which is sanctioned by Fly Fishing Canada. So we have room for 16 people to join us. We get out and we do what's called a lock-style event. So we get out in the boats and we do some fly fishing. I'll give a little bit of seminar to people to sort of get them in and teach them about competitive fly fishing tactics. So this is happening on Saturday, 8 a.m. out at Spring Lake, because we have a relationship with the Edmonton Trout Club, who's been around since 1955 at Spring Lake, and they thankfully let us use their venue for a few months out of the year while we do some events there.
Okay, how can people? Do you have a website, or how do people go read more? Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, we're on Facebook at
North Central
Alberta Fly Fishing. Join up. We put out an announcement once a month during spring, summer, and fall that we have the monthly event, and then our big event for our group, we put on the Alberta Stillwater Championship, which is also sponsored by Fly Fishing Canada.
So why would you encourage someone to get involved if they're on the fence?
If they're on the fence, because I've watched some good anglers become great anglers. The amount of sharing of information, while competition isn't for everybody, you can learn so much and apply it to everyday angling. The other side of it is our conservation. I'm very much into the conservation of wetlands, grasslands, and we use the league to educate and sort of lobby against developments in places where there shouldn't be. I'm a big fish and wildlife guy, and the league sort of gives us that ability to have a little more clout when we talk to the provincial government or talk to the city of Edmonton about certain developments that probably shouldn't go ahead.
Okay, we only got less than a couple minutes left, but you brought in your flies. You got a couple dozen in there.
Oh, no, there's probably about 70.
Oh, you got some on the other
They're
side,
all
too.
clumped up in there, yeah.
Okay, so just quickly, you got different sizes and different colors.
Yes.
How do you know when to use what?
Okay, typically for any type of fishing, bright colors on bright days, dark colors on dark days. If there's a hatch of insects or a certain type of, say, a minnow, that pattern or minnow that's in the area, when minnows spawn, they group up in large quantities and the fish key in on them. So you're trying to call what's match the hatch, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're trying to get a fly that's somewhat similar to what's going on, whether it's a bug, a leech, minnow, anything like that.
So another thing you get more experience with. Okay.
Exactly.
I got to read this text. Nick from Pigeon Lake, he says, can you ask Jason where his favorite lake is to fish in either Alberta or Canada? I don't know if you want to pick one, but
if I'm not going to give any names of lakes, but I would say go to the parklands in Manitoba, Roblin, Russell area. They have some of the best trout fishing in the world. It's a 10-hour drive from here. Gotta go. You just gotta go. I mentioned that Bug Chucker Cup. It happens at the end of May every year, and there's lots of openings for teams. It's an incredible way to experience what's called the parklands and all the lakes out there.
Yeah.
Amazing fishing.
Jason, thanks so much for coming in.
Appreciate the time.
Again, check out Jason on Facebook with the North Central Alberta Fly Fishing League and find out more about their event this weekend. Fascinating segment, and congratulations on finishing 4th at Nationals. Also tonight, you heard from Mike Riley, Morley Scott, Jen Kish, Kelly Rudy. Kellen Kennedy has been the studio producer. Dave Campbell is the producer of the show. Tomorrow in this time slot, Game 5, Penguins Predators. They face off at 6. My name is Reid Wilkins. Charles Adler tonight is next. Thank you for listening.